Welcome back to Learning Together. I'm Chief Information Officer Nathan Pope, and I am joined by Miss Casey Abee, who teaches fifth grade at Dudley Shoals Elementary and is also Caldwell County Schools Rookie Teacher of the Year for this year.
Yes.
You proud of that?
I am. I'm honored to be
Well, you should be
the
proud.
Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
This is people that watch these videos have heard the same thing from me over and over, that teachers don't brag about themselves enough. And so that's why I make you come here and I brag about you to everybody else. Then you don't have to feel bad about it.
You got it, because it's very uncomfortable to do that.
What did we learn in Miss Abee's class today?
Oh, my. We're still talking about the Civil War, Module 3 of Wit and Wisdom. We're in the midst of doing that, and so we were reading in our book The Boys' War, learning about boys who took part in the Civil War. We were reviewing volume today, getting ready for that math EOG, and then we were looking at some genetics and heredity for science review.
Yeah, I visited and fifth grade parents are already going to be aware of this, I'm sure, but the fifth grade science review that the entire district did for fifth graders at the community college. I went and stood in on that, and I was surprised at how much they learn about genetics in the fifth grade. Mm-hmm. The life cycle stuff, we all remember studying the life cycle in fifth grade, but genetics, I was surprised to see that one.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned Wit and Wisdom.
Yeah.
You're actually, and for everyone who doesn't know, Wit and Wisdom is a curriculum guide that we follow here in Caldwell County Schools for English language arts, but it has some crossover into social studies as well, because it's, we call it a curriculum, but it's really a style of learning that encourages children to ask questions and kind of go beyond the surface level.
Yeah, thinking deeper.
Yeah. And you are a teacher leader for Wit and Wisdom in helping to implement that and helping teachers figure out how to use it in their classroom in our district. Right. So why don't you, I'm not qualified to give everyone an overview of Wit and Wisdom, but you are. So why don't you tell us all a little bit about Wit and Wisdom?
About Wit and Wisdom. Well, I'm a huge proponent of Wit and Wisdom, obviously. I am a teacher leader, and I feel really passionately about the curriculum. Like you said, there's some tie-in as far as social studies goes, but also with science. When I taught fourth grade in Module 1, we did a book called The Circulatory Story, and it's all about the circulatory system. And I mean, it's really complex material, but Wit and Wisdom is so good about each lesson builds on the one before it. And if you're teaching it with fidelity and you're really giving the appropriate amount of time to each lesson, then you'll see your kids really rise to expectations that are through the roof, standards that are through the roof, because the material and the learning is so rigorous. But I've seen so much growth with that curriculum and just an overall increase in a love for learning, not just ELA, but with all kinds of subjects like social studies and science. So it's fantastic. It is awesome, and I love being a teacher leader.
When I visited your classroom, you were doing a Wit and Wisdom lesson on a book about the Civil War, which I thought was interesting. They had not started the book. They were still looking at the covers and reading the first few pages and looking at the pictures in the book and things like that. But I looked over their shoulder and read parts of the book, and I liked how the book combined. You could tell that there was they were being kind of challenged with their reading comprehension, but at the same time, they were learning about U.S. history. And then they were learning about things that were kind of relevant to them as fifth graders heading to middle school, because the book, The Boys' War, was focused on young boys who fought in the Civil War.
Right.
So they were going to learn about children and their experiences, how to relate that to themselves. And and I say we because I was having a lot of fun taking part in the lesson, as you remember. We were notice and wondering. So why don't you tell us about notice and wonder? What was the goal there in telling them to notice things and then wonder about what they had noticed?
Yeah, so with Wit and Wisdom, noticing and wondering is throughout. I mean, K through 8 you're going to hear that terminology. And kids, the great thing about it is if a kid has, come up and been through Wit and Wisdom curriculum, K1, 2, 3, they're so used to that kind of language and what it means to do those things. And it's really wonderful to hear them use those words in such a meaningful way. But when they're noticing, they are paying attention and sharing things that really stand out to them and catch their eye as being important details or something they would like to know more about or explore a little bit more. Things that they feel like may come into play later on in a book or anything that they feel like is important to share. And in wondering, they're asking questions, and that's my favorite part of it is they're asking any and every question about things that they want an answer to, and they wonder about really deep things, and it's so fun to hear where their minds are at and what they want to know more about in the wondering.
I was really impressed by, while they were wondering, I was impressed by their candor. Because it gave them a very open space to express their thoughts and what they were observing and how they felt about it. To give everyone an example, so for example, one student noticed on the front cover of the book that the boy in the picture was not smiling, and then they wondered if he was not smiling because he was sad about war. And then a conversation broke out about how war can make people sad. Why does war make people sad? Well, who else besides the people fighting in the war are sad? And Casey just kind of allowed this to happen in the classroom and guided it it was a very fluid thing. It was almost like watching a group of high schoolers discuss a novel because they felt so open to tell. And there were questions that you were using to guide them, but every student in the classroom was raising their hand and talking about what they thought. And that was the best part of observing that they all felt it was a very collaborative learning process, even in the 5th grade.
Right. Yeah.
So kudos to Miss Abee.
Kudos to Wit and Wisdom. I mean, it really, what it allows, the discussions that the curriculum, I feel like, facilitates is just, they're out of this world. I mean, like, and that's what's so difficult about kind of reining those discussions in and, remembering that you have to have a sense of urgency as far as covering the important content in the lesson and moving forward. But those discussions are, I mean, how do you stop them? They're so fun, they're engaged, and they're excited about whatever it is that they're talking about. So that's like the best part.
Yeah. And it went beyond just, I mean, they were showing that they were developing emotional awareness through their observations. Just so many things. It was very impressive. And it's not the first time I've observed Wit and Wisdom. I've seen Melissa Stutz put it in action in her classroom with much younger students in the 2nd and 3rd grade, but it was leading to the same effect, where they were asking questions that helped them to retain what they were learning and then figure out how to apply it to other things in the classroom beyond just that particular lesson. So Wit and Wisdom is super cool.
Fantastic, yeah.
To put it in a very generic way. Are you alone as a teacher leader, or are there more teachers in our district who are doing that with you?
There are more, and next year we're actually looking to add more teacher leaders. So let this kind of be a PSA, but there are currently 7 of us, and we've got pretty much every grade level covered. I'm the 4-5 rep, but we've got K through 8 covered. So there are teachers in the county that you can go observe and see teach Wit and Wisdom in action and kind of debrief with them afterward to hear about some tips and strategies for implementing the curriculum. And I would encourage anybody to take that opportunity because I love to watch other teachers. It's like my favorite thing, and I wish I could do it more. because I get so much from that. But it's just a great opportunity to not only to go see another teacher in action, but to see Wit and Wisdom live and get a feel for the pacing and the timing and all that good stuff. But it's a good opportunity.
So, parents at home that would like to see Wit and Wisdom in action, what types of things can they do with their children? I mean, if they say Wit and Wisdom, kids have heard that term before, but
Yeah.
they're not necessarily going to be able to explain that.
Right.
So let's say a parent at home, they have a book, they want to see Wit and Wisdom in action with their child at home. What can they do?
I mean, what we were talking about earlier, like a simple first step is, asking a child to name some of their notices. What is sticking out to you, and that could be the cover of the book, the back of the book. It could be as they're skimming pages or as they're going through and actually close reading. But yeah, what are some of your notices? What's sticking out to you? What do you find important and why? And then having them share their wonders. What are some questions you're having right now? What do you want to know more about? That would be awesome. I feel like that would be really impactful for families at home. Yeah.
I can say that it is. I do it with my 4-year-old at home.
Oh, that's awesome.
When we start a book, we look at the cover. What do we see on this cover? Tell me what the characters are doing. What do we think is going to happen in the book? And then I have noticed that those questions cause her to wonder. And we read a book about bees. And when the book was done, she had many more questions about bees that had not been answered in the book, even as a 4-year-old. So we're proud to implement Wit and Wisdom in this district. And we're seeing the effects for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to back up a little bit. We spoke with the BT mentors on this a couple weeks ago, I think it was. And they explained to us that a BT is a teacher in their first 3 years of teaching. Right. You're still considered a BT because you're on year 3. Mm-hmm. That's right. Tell us how you ended up in Caldwell County. Why did we get to have you in our team of gifted teachers?
I'm a Burt County native, grown up in Burt County public schools and have had a wonderful experience in those schools. But when I was thinking about college, and I've always known I wanted to be a teacher. This is the only thing I've ever wanted to do. I just, for some reason, and I can't really explain it, had it in my mind that I needed to branch out and be in a different county. But I am very close to my family and friends, so I knew I didn't want to, move states or anything. But so Caldwell has a program. Well, Appalachian State has a program, a distance ed program through CCC and TI, and I was like, wow, that's a great opportunity, and that was kind of my first avenue into Caldwell County, and then I ended up doing my student teaching at Collettsville School, and had a fantastic experience, and just kind of knew that this was where I wanted to be. And that 4th grade student teaching position led me to teaching 4th grade at Dudley Shoals Elementary in January of that year. So, yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Heather Poole, I think she told me that the 2 other 5th grade teachers at Dudley that you work with, you also worked with when you were a 4th grade teacher there last year.
Yep.
The 3 of you moved grades together because you had gotten into such a rhythm, lesson planning and all of the things that you did last year, that you stayed in that rhythm for 5th grade. Why are they so special to you?
Oh my gosh. They're the best. Ryan Cooper hired me at Dudley, and he knew, I think, that those 2 women were the teammates I needed, because I would not be in this chair next to you without them. They are fantastic and so passionate about what they do every day and love their kids so hard.
Tell us their names. I forgot to say their names.
Sorry. It's Holly Porch and Julie Overby. They are very special. And we just click. We're all really different and we bring different things to the table, but something about it really works. And all of our students, Holly's, Julie's, mine, know that they are loved not just by their homeroom teacher, but by the other two teachers as well. I mean, we love them as a whole, and that's special. And just to see another teacher investing in, a student of mine, that's awesome, and they just inspire me daily. They're really fantastic.
Tell us kind of what techniques you use to collaborate. What are the things that you all do to make sure you're in rhythm with each other?
Well, I think just meeting and talking to one another on a regular basis is huge, and whether that be us getting a formal sit down planning session during the day, or if we've got all kinds of things going on and meetings and that kind of thing to attend to, we find some time during the day to kind of see where we're all at, and how are your kids doing in this skill. What are you doing to teach this particular lesson? How did your kids respond to it? And just that constant collaboration between the three of us, I feel like is really beneficial. I think it's just got to be consistent, and if that's there, then it's good.
You have we'll call it an activity that
Mm-hmm.
you do with your students toward the end of the day,
Mm.
occasionally.
Yeah, when we
Um,
get the time.
is it Roses and Thorns?
Roses and Thorns, yep.
Tell us about Roses and Thorns.
Roses and Thorns is kind of a way to reflect on the day that we had and talk about the positives of that day, which are the roses, and also share the negatives that occurred during that day, or maybe just during that week, or something that's coming up for them that they're dreading, or whatever it may be, something that's weighing on them. Those are the thorns. So the kids volunteer to share. It's never something I'm forcing them to do. But most always when we do it, it's full participation. They're eager to talk about what makes them happy, and they're eager to talk about what is a struggle for them, what's really weighing on them, and taking away from their focus, whatever it may be. And it's a great way to end the day and kind of set ourselves up for a clean slate the next day as well. And that's a really fun practice that I try to do as often as possible.
What do you learn from the kids during that?
Oh my goodness, so much.
Because I feel like you're probably hearing things, and that's helping you too as a teacher.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
assume,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if somebody had an off day, wasn't their self, and maybe was lacking focus, and then they share at the end of the day that they're worried about their dog who's gonna have surgery. It's like an aha moment for me a lot of the time, of like, oh, that's, and it also helps me to give grace, and just it's a lesson in that, of kids come in with all kinds of things that have gone on before the school day starts, and things that are going on after the school day ends, and it's a good thing for me to remember too.
Do you think that's important for all teachers to do that? To give an open space for students to talk about things that aren't necessarily school,
Yeah.
but that they're bringing to school with
Oh, yeah.
them?
Absolutely, in some form or fashion. It definitely doesn't have to be through Roses and Thorns, but I mean, even if it's just taking a day out of the week to go sit with a group of your kids at lunch and kind of hear about where they're at and what's going on in their life outside of school. What are you excited about? What's stressing you out? Things that are not. It gives them a time to kind of share things that are not gonna stress them out. Like they're not. There's no pressure on them to perform or
Right.
give the correct answer, or it's the truth. It's just the honest truth. What's going on with you right now, and that kind of communication between teacher and students, I think, is vital for getting any kind of academic success out of them, for sure.
Yeah. Melissa Stutz, when she was here, and then also JP, Jalen Parsons, they both kind of reiterated that
Right.
it's okay for people who work at school to just listen.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes a kid just needs you to listen.
Oh, yeah.
They may be in the school building, but that doesn't mean everything on the inside is school, because
Right.
they bring things to school with them. And so I think it's great that you also are working to develop relationships with your students where there's a mutual trust, because then they can also trust you to teach them,
Right.
and to learn together.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. One of the questions that we ask in the Teacher of the Year and Rookie Teacher of the Year interviews was, what is an issue that you think is facing public school now? What do you think is an issue that public schools are facing that more people need to be made aware of?
I feel like I'm going to echo what Melissa Studd said of public education gets a bad rap, and there's some amazing things happening in public education, and it's a special environment to be in, and there are amazing things happening. It's not a scary place. It's not hopefully a place where kids feel that they are pressured to do things that they don't want to do, or hear things they don't want to hear. It's a very loving and nurturing, exciting environment to be a part of. It's fun. They're engaged daily, and across the county, and I know across the country, these things are happening in public schools, and they are definitely not highlighted enough, and the negative is picked apart and regurgitated over and over. But I think that we got to shine a light on the good things that are happening, which is, I think it's great that you're doing this podcast, because I think that's a way to do that, to bring teachers and admin and whoever in here to talk about all the amazing things that are happening in public schools.
Oh, yeah. This is just a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
You all have something to say. We're
Right.
going to give you a way to say it. You're doing a lot at Dudley to get parents and community more involved. You sponsor Beta Club.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing some other things. So is that your way of encouraging people to see, like, hey, school is great. Come check out school. See what we're doing.
Yeah, come be a part, and actually see firsthand the excitement that these kids are showing, the pride they have, at what they've done, and their performance and the things they create. Like, it's exciting. So yeah, Beta is a great way to bring parents in, and especially when we go to convention, that is so fun to have parents come and join their child, and their child is winning awards and being recognized on that kind of level for their excellence. I mean, that's really special too.
Yeah. The PTA is very active at Dudley Shoals too.
Oh yeah. Yes.
You guys are always up to something over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So check it out, people.
Please do.
Go do something at Dudley Shoals with the PTA. They do fundraisers over there.
Yeah.
So I end this podcast in the same way every time, and you're aware of this by now because you told me you've been watching them. But we call this podcast Learning Together. Oh, people are going to get so sick of hearing me say the same thing over. I'm going to have to figure out a different way to say it. But Caldwell County Schools is more than just classrooms and buildings. This is a whole community,
Right.
and we're learning together. So what is something that you have learned from the community that you would like to share with everybody else?
I have learned all kinds of things from listening to these podcast episodes. I mean, like, I, at times where Dudley is, and I live in Catawba County now, but it feels, we're on one side of the county, and it can feel like we're away from other things that are taking place. At least for me, it can feel that way living in Catawba. But listening to these people that you've brought on and hearing about the things that they're doing in their classroom or the things they're doing at their school, what they want people to know about their school, I have learned so much. Like JP's Gentlemen's Club, and you were talking about Melissa Stutz's Friday coffee.
Conversations and
Yeah,
coffee. I'll be there tomorrow, actually.
yeah, I mean, like, it's just, I think I would encourage anybody, you don't have to have anything to do with education, but it's so encouraging to hear about the awesome things that people are doing and how passionate they are about it, how much they love it and enjoy it. And so I've learned a lot just from listening to some of the episodes.
Oh yeah, Caldwell County Schools is I don't want to say a little school district because we're in the grand scheme of things, we're not necessarily small, but we're not large either.
Yeah.
But that's not stopping us from doing big things.
No.
So I mean, I encourage the entire community, come be part of our big things. We would love to have you.
For sure.
But thank you for being here, Miss Abee.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you here to chat with us, and thanks everybody else.